synapses in the internet underground. Everyone knows who I am. The world is my chessboard and war is the tool of the game. Don't hate me, I'm just a messenger. Say what you want about me, but I speak the truth. The truth, the truth. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost, and I want to thank you for tuning in with me. This is episode number 753, episode number 753 for all the folks that are keeping track of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I'd like to ask everybody to please spread this show across the internet and throughout the world. And let everybody let them all know that the True Capitalist Radio broadcast is in effect and in the house. And once again, we are live on everywhere from X to YouTube to Rumble to Kick, D-Live, Trovo, Odyssey. We're broadcasting all over the place. So cheers to everybody out there who is listening to the broadcast. Folks, I haven't broadcasted this show in a couple of weeks because I hate to tell you, there's really not a lot of good news to talk about. And I know that everybody is trying to grasp at straws when it comes to the propagandist of MAGA and the Democrats. Everybody is trying to put some optimistic, I don't know, trying to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear type of a situation here. But I don't have anything good to say. So if you think that, and look, there's Devious Dave with a Rumble rant. We need good news, followed up by trolling the interwebs with a $2 Rumble rant. We need terrible news. Well, I think it's going to be a mixed bag here as far as I'm concerned. All right, so without any further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get this party started. Once again, this is episode number 753. It is July 31st. 2025. And you know how we begin this broadcast, folks. We talk about the markets. And what do we call this market? What do we call it? We call it the taco market. All right. And everybody knows the euphemism for taco. Trump always, chickens out. That's the whole mnemonic with that. And that's exactly what we saw here today, folks. This is why, and there's Blades Colon with a Rumble rant, we need sexy news. That's great. And Belligerent Brian, shout out to Josh Moon for not rolling over to our Orwellian government in the UK. That man is a hero. Cheers, man. Well, thank you, Belligerent Brian. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, all right? But first, we're going to talk about the markets here. And like I said, this is a taco market. As you can see, look, this is the Dow Jones chart. And it starts out like a bat out of hell. I think it was up about 1.5% in the morning. And then Taco Trump came around, and guess what? What happened? He's caving in on the so-called tariffs to Mexico. That's right, folks. He's going to extend the Mexico tariffs by another 90 days, which I mean, it kind of adds to the euphemism of the taco mnemonic there that Trump always chickens out. So unfortunately, that's what everybody was reacting to today when it came to the markets. And put the PC shot back on. That's why we saw it coming like a bat out of hell. And then it tried to come back after some anticipation of the numbers that came out when it came to inflation. All this is very discombobulating. And in my personal view, folks, this is why I'm no longer day trading. You stand to risk and lose a lot of money in this very unpredictable market. There is absolutely no patterns in this market. In my opinion, the market is operating like a casino, in my view. And the reason I'm saying this, and I think I said this on the last broadcast, but it bears repeating, we've got a lot of retail investors. You know, folks that made a lot of money during COVID when they were sitting at home during the lockdown and they had nothing to do but save money and then pay off their debts, which is the biggest savings America ever had during COVID. Also, the lowest debt America had during COVID. And during that time, they had a lot of spare time on their hands, so they got on the internet and they went on Reddit and they got on subreddits like Wall Street Bets and got into this meme stock mentality, which is completely ridiculous, by the way. I mean, you know that we're in a sense of euphoria in this market when people are buying stocks for the meme, not for the profit. Many of these meme stocks are stocks going out of business or in the verge of bankruptcy, and it's fucking pathetic. But you see, there are some people that end up buying these meme stocks at the bottom of this pyramid scheme because, remember, somebody's got to be left holding the bag. And you see, that's the unfortunate part about this whole meme stock mentality. You've got a lot of retail investors that really don't know how they made money during the time of COVID because, remember, it was April of 2020 when the Dow Jones Industrial went down to about 17,000 points. And as you can take a look today, I mean, even though the Dow is down 0.74% on the day, the Dow Jones Industrial today is at 44,130.98 points. So you could have been an absolute idiot and threw shit at the fucking wall of stocks and just to see what sticks, and you could have held and made money. And you see, now that we're at peak prices, man, we're at all-time highs across the board. And as everybody who has made massive amounts of money in this stock market will tell you, you want to buy low and sell high, all right? You don't want to buy high and sell low. And that's why I am kind of dissuading anybody from putting most of their portfolio or most of their net worth in the market right now. These prices are so high, they just can't get any higher. And if they do, I mean, who knows? Why? Why are they going higher? And you see, not even the Wall Street Journal can answer that shit. Look at this. Why are stocks up? Nobody knows. With a torrent of bad news hasn't been enough to sink the market because we're in a euphoric market, folks, where rationale and institutional investing, traditional investing has gone out the window. And what is traditional investing? It means that you're going to invest in a company that is profitable and that has a trajectory for growth and continued sustained profitability. You see, that's what makes the value of a company. All right, not the fact that you've got some idiot on Wall Street Bets subreddit saying, hey, you know what? They're going to take out GameStop. And I remember when I was a kid and I was waiting in line for the Dota at midnight and I like it. And whatever the fucking reason is that is behind these meme stocks, it's ridiculous. Okay. And we need to flush out these retail investors because the retail investors are the ones that are keeping these stocks way high. And look, the higher they go, the harder it's going to fall. And it's not just going to affect these retail investors. It's going to affect people's retirements and 401ks. I mean, it's going to affect everybody. And that's why I am the bear investor in this market at this point in time. And I have suggested for people to maybe not hold so much of their portfolio in equities. Okay, maybe they should, kind of entertain holding cash or investing in gold and silver. That sort of thing. Let's go ahead and talk about that since we're talking about it. Let's get done with the equities here. We just went over the Dow. The S&P 500 closed out also on the negative today, 0.37%, closing out the S&P at 6,339.39 points for the S&P. The NASDAQ, it was down very slightly, 0.03%. closing out the NASDAQ at a whopping 21,122.45 points for the NASDAQ composite. Jesus Christ, that is just unbelievable. I mean, there is no reason to be buying these at these prices. You all will remember that these prices that we've seen, and when they finally come crashing down, because they are going to come crashing down, we just don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows why stocks are up. Nobody knows. And I'm telling you, it's the retail investor. I'm telling you that right now. They're the ones that are keeping these stocks up, and it's unhealthy because they're the ones that are going to be holding the bag. They're the ones that are going to be losing the money. And because of their insane greed and their mindless euphoria, they're going to jeopardize everybody else's portfolio. They're going to jeopardize everybody else's 401k. So that's why yours truly doesn't have that much of his portfolio in the stock market. All right, I've got a batch of small cap stocks, which, by the way, small caps are at a over 25-year low right now. And that's where, if you're going to be entertaining any kind of entry point into the stock market at this point, I would suggest taking a look at anything in the small cap sector that has trajectory for growth and has absolute profitability, sustainable profitability, or going to obtain profitability within the past several balance sheets for the past several years. Okay, because that's where you're going to find where you just buy a batch of small caps and then you hold them for 5 years, 10 years, and hopefully they just blow up and you do your homework and they blow up out of proportion. And let me tell you, in my opinion, I think small caps are going to get very attractive once we start seeing the interest rates go lower. Now, let's talk about the interest rates for a little bit, because Trump has been pressuring the Federal Reserve, even going down the Federal Reserve himself, in an attempt to try to bully the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. But you know what? Amidst all the aggression, amidst all the hoopla and the, all his surrogates saying that Jerome Powell should be fired, Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve stayed steady and held rates at these current rates at this point in time, defying Trump's demands for an aggressive cut. Now, why is that? Now, many of the magatards that are going to try to feed you some bullshit are going to point to the fact that some numbers came out here earlier this week that the economy grew by 3%. Okay? Now, the reason that is so a bunch of bullshit of a statistic to show why we need to lower rates is because, first and foremost, we don't need to lower rates because we still don't have employment or unemployment that would justify the Federal Reserve taking its eye off of inflation in order to cut rates to bring back full employment. We're not at the point where we're seeing 5, 6, 7% unemployment. When we start seeing that, that's when the Federal Reserve makes the decision to pivot away from raising rates in order to offset inflation and start lowering rates to bring back down unemployment. So that's how the Federal Reserve operates. So because we don't have an unemployment problem at this point, the Federal Reserve is keeping these rates as they are. And by the way, the reason they're keeping the rates as they are, because inflation rates came out today. And I don't know if y'all saw inflation, but take a look. Key inflation gauge rose last month as Trump's tariffs lifted goods prices, which is exactly what he and all the MAGA chattering class said wasn't going to happen. Folks, you can go back on the archive, all right, especially in the live archive at YouTube. All last year, I said if Trump was elected and he implements these tariffs, that the price of everything is going to go up, especially food. And have you gone to the grocery store recently? Well, you know what I'm talking about, huh? This was all a lie. I mean, this is an insane economic policy, what Trump is doing here. And what he's doing, we're going to feel the effects of for the next 10 years. All right? But as we can see, the inflation rate, which is prices, rose 2.6%, okay, in June compared to a year ago. And the Commerce Department said Thursday...
They're eating the cats.
Well, thank you right there, Mark. I'll get to yours in just a second. Thank you for saying it's a good show. Cheers to you, and I'll read yours in just a second, Mark. But the annual pace of inflation is 2.4%. And if you exclude the volatility of food and energy categories, the general prices rose at 2.8% this past year. Now, remember, the Fed's goal is to bring down inflation to an annual rate of 2%, which we have not achieved at this point in time. Hence, that's why the Federal Reserve is not lowering interest rates. Okay, so just keep that in mind, why the Federal Reserve is not lowering rates. It's not some nefarious thing that the Trump administration and its MAGA chattering class are trying to say that it is. All right, prices are still going higher, and the Federal Reserve's mandate is to, kind of regulate prices and regulate inflation. Now, the only time they take the ball off of inflation is if we get high unemployment, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second, all right? But let me get to some of these Buy Me a Coffees. Mark, hello, Ghost, good show. As always, I know it's old news, really sick, how the liberals are gleeing about Hulk Hogan being dead. It's disgusting. Well, it's happening on both sides, all right? I mean, the polarization of politics is getting so bad that it's that way on both sides, and it's pathetic. And yet both sides are trying to claim they're the better American, which both of them, in my opinion, both Republicans and Democrats, are both acting like un-American trash. But I'll talk about that here in a second. And American Anime Okotu said, can you talk about the child safety bill in the UK that threatens anonymity on the internet as we know it? I'll get to that when we get to international news. I'm going to go over the markets. I'm going over financials now. Then we're going to go over the domestic news, which the crux of that is going to be why Trump is so adamant about covering up Epstein. And, I mean, to be honest with you, it seems as if, in my opinion, from the information that has been gathered and is public at this point, that the reason that Trump is so adamant about this Epstein cover-up is because maybe, in my opinion, he could have been a part of the trafficking himself. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. I'm trying to get to financial news here because there's a lot of people that want to hear what the hell's going on in the financial markets. All right, and Cat Cans with a $5 Rumble Rant. We need... undubitable news? What the fuck does that mean? And then we got Anime Capitalist. Ghost, talk about how the Jew web service and platforms are either censoring or asking for facial ID in the UK and Australia. Cheers, baby, cheers. We're going to talk about that here in a second, all right? And then there's old man Frank telling me F you. Thank you, dude. Anyway, once again, let's go back and recap. All right, the Fed has kept rates as they are. And the reason is because inflation, as you can see, has risen at an annual rate of 2.8%, a month-to-month rate at 2.6%. So the Fed is not going to cut into inflation, especially when you've got tariffs that are the crux of the reason why we're seeing rising prices. So that's where we're at this point in time when it comes to rates. Now, I'm not trying to say that the Fed is never going to cut rates. Look, they're pretty close to the 2% benchmark. And they've been trying to achieve that 2% benchmark ever since March of 2022, and they have yet to achieve it. And even going back to those days, if y'all go back on Ghost Not Report, I think those episodes are on there. I even said that at some point the Fed is they're going to compromise. They're going to compromise at some point at 2.3, maybe 2.5% of annual inflation. We're at 2.8%, and then they're going to lower rates, in my opinion. And I think they're just waiting for that. I think everybody needs to be patient about the rate cuts, but they're coming, in my opinion. But let me explain why it's not a bad idea. Because first and foremost, the whole reason why, and I think you people have heard me say this before, but it bears repeating, the reason that the Federal Reserve raises interest rates is in order to recall all the money that the Fed printed out, particularly during COVID, because over 50% of the money circulated, I think it's 60% of the money circulated, was printed during COVID. So they're trying to raise rates in order to recall those outstanding fiat currencies back into their possession. Now, what's offsetting that attempt at trying to do that is the federal government with its recent big, beautiful bill passing, which adds another $5 trillion onto the debt. That is what's causing the Fed to continue with these rate hikes or sustaining high rates because they have to recall those dollars. When this is the fucking dumbest shit about our government. This is why anybody who is claiming to be fiscally conservative and claiming to be pro-Trump, you're an idiot. Okay, because Trump just added $5 trillion to the deficit. Okay, now that $5 trillion we have to pay interest on. All right, we have to pay interest on that. And right now, the interest before the $5 trillion is added on the annual national debt is almost $50 billion. $950 billion annually on interest alone. And then you're going to add another $5 trillion on top of that. That's why he's implementing tariffs, folks. He's implementing tariffs not because he gives a shit about the American people, because he wants the American people to stop paying taxes. It's because the taxes from American people and corporations can barely sustain the annual interest on our national debt. So what are the tariffs for? To supplement the interest so they can continue adding on to the debt. That's what the tariffs are about. It's not about fiscal conservatism. It's about having the ability to show bondholders that we're good on paying the interest and we can collect enough taxes on paying the interest in order to continuously add on to the United States deficit. Okay? And this is the problem, folks. In my opinion, the economic model that the Trump administration is operating on is something called Fabian socialism. Now, in a nutshell, Fabian socialism believes that if you spin yourself into oblivion, that at some point, the folks that already have the money, they're going to have most of it, and they are going to dictate what socialism is. And that's what we're entering. That's what the PayPal mafia is about. That's what the tech bros are all about. This is what is happening right here, right now. So for all you MAGA idiots who thought that the tariffs were going to come in and wipe out your personal income tax and we're going to cause this, economic boom, you people were morons, you're idiots. And that's why, in my opinion, I think America needs voter reform. All right, I think let me not get ahead of myself. All right, let me continue with the markets before I start going off on the American people here. All right, but anyway, let's get back to the market. Let's talk about the fucking commodities here. All right, now put the PC shot on. Now let's get to gas. Now we have seen a lowering in crude oil. It hasn't really been reflected in the gas prices because we don't have the refinery capability. Even if we do have cheap oil prices, we can't refine enough in order to meet demand to lower gas prices enough for it to actually have any kind of impact on the economy. Because that's what Trump was hoping. Trump was hoping that he would go talk to the Saudis, he would drill baby drill, and that crude oil would go down to like fucking $30, $35 a barrel. So that gasoline prices are down to like $1.50 or $1.99, which he's claiming they are, which they're clearly not. But that's what he's hoping for to offset the inflation that his tariffs are causing. And unfortunately, it's not working for him because he didn't realize how long it takes for a fucking refinery to be approved, let alone be built. And that's why, even though we're seeing low prices in crude, it's not reflected that well in the gas prices. With that being said, currently right now, WTI sweet crude is down 63 cents, and the current price is $69.36 per barrel of WTI sweet crude. And Brent crude, which is the crude oil that's consumed by the rest of the world, particularly Europe, it is also down 63 cents, and the current price for Brent crude is $71.83 per barrel of Brent crude. Now, as you can see, the month Brent crude has gone, or excuse me, I should say WTI sweet crude has gone up 5.93% on the month, and Brent crude has gone up 7% on the month. So, it's slightly going back up, all right, even though we saw some low prices. All right, now, as you can see, take a look at natural gas year to year. Natural gas year to year is up 56.92%. All right, that ain't good. All right, that's affecting Europe. That's Europe right there because of the sanctions on Russia and their dependency on Russia and them having to find alternative energy sources, that sort of thing. And another thing going up on the month is German natural gas, and I think that's UK regular gas at 8.96% for the month on regular gas in the UK. Now, let's get to the metals, shall we? The metals! Let's get to the goddamn metals. Now, folks, I've been telling you, gold and silver right now, I think are very safe investments to hedge, not only against inflation, but against the uncertainty of what's going on in the markets today. Now, I try to tell everybody to get into this. Remember, I was telling people right as the Federal Reserve was raising rates when silver was at like fucking 18, 19 bucks to start accumulating silver, start accumulating gold, start accumulating silver. And the reason I say silver specifically, because as you can see, the price of gold right now is at $3,293.45. So you're going to have a lot more of an investment in gold in order for you to get profit. With silver, in my opinion, I think it may dip here. But if you value invest silver, like every month you get so much silver, at some point we're going to see silver go up to at least close to $100. And the reason I say that is because we have inflation continuing. We've got Trump trying to be aggressive for the Federal Reserve to cut rates. The Federal Reserve is going to eventually cut rates. And when they cut rates, these commodities specifically will go higher by default. All right, go higher by default. Now, let's talk about copper here. Copper took a crap this week. As you can see, copper is down 23.67% on the week, and that's because of tariffs, folks. All right, that's because of tariffs right there. So, I mean, this is why, these markets are becoming very, very volatile, and it's all because it's the taco market. Trump always chickens out. I mean, it's the taco market. You don't know what the hell's going to happen here. And it's a shame, man. It's a fucking shame. Anyway, I'm getting a little too extensive on these markets here, but as you can see, let's take a look at the agricultural commodities and take a look at the monthly increases. Lumber is up 11.49%. Palm oil, you'll be surprised what's in that or how many fucking edible products take that. It's up 7.73% on the month. Take a look at orange juice. It is up 20.76% on the month. And we've got barley up 5.32%. We've got sugar up 4.24% on the month. And as you can see, folks, we're not getting much leverage when it comes to any of these prices. Now, if you've gone to the store recently, which I did, I'm sure you're in shock at the level of pricing of beef today. Because we're at all-time high for beef, folks. We're at all-time highs. Let's take a look at this. All-time fucking highs for beef. All right, well, we're coming down from all-time highs, but you couldn't say that if you went to the store. But remember, look at this, right? Look, prices started skyrocketing once Trump started coming into office and started doing this tariff crap. All right? And I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse because, remember, the Chinese and some of the European folks that would buy from our producers of livestock in America have cut their contracts. So that means that the producers in America aren't going to produce as many cattle or harvest as many cattle, which means that whatever the prices are now are probably going to even be double, by this time next year. So MAGA, all right? And I guess we can look at eggs, right? Eggs have come down, right? Yay, eggs. I mean, they realized, I'm talking to the administration, that was a focal point of the initial inflation of this administration coming to power, and they did whatever they could to bring down egg prices. To be honest with you, they are importing eggs in order to offset these prices. I'm talking about the government, so that's why we're seeing an egg price as you see it. So anyway, folks, one more thing I want to talk about because somebody in the True Capitalist Radio chat room wanted me to talk about the housing market. And somebody is saying that it seems a lot like 2008, 2009. And I'm going to tell you why it's not, okay? I'm going to tell you why it's not. And Red Eyes Black Dragon, what about coffee? I can't live without my coffee. Coffee is actually going higher because of tariffs on Brazil. The reason Trump has put tariffs on Brazil is because Brazil is currently prosecuting Bolsonaro, which was the previous head of state of Brazil which tried to do a January 6th type situation over there in Brazil when the current head of state, Lula, came to power, and that is what he's being prosecuted for. And because Trump likes Bolsonaro, he decided to throw a 35% tariff or some shit on Brazil, which their claim to fame is coffee. So, and sugar as well, which is ironic because Trump wants to use regular sugar cane and Coke, and we don't grow sugar in America. So that's going to be very interesting, all right? And we got Red Eyes Black Dragon. Cheers to you, man. I just talked about coffee, but let's talk about the home sector. Now, somebody in the inner circle was talking about, or not the inner circle, well, he was a member of the inner circle, but he's also a member of the TCR chat, that this looks like parallels of the housing crash of 08-09. Now, I'll tell you why it isn't. Now, first and foremost, it isn't a crash. It's like a cooling off session, in my personal opinion. And you take a look at this article from Realtor.com. All right, home sellers hope for a hot end to a cool summer market. Now, what's happening, folks, is that there is a plethora of inventory that is on the market. All right, a whole bunch of it that has come on the market. Now, with that being said, prices have only come down, all right, in markets that had massive over speculation. I mean, places like Austin, Chicago, Las Vegas, Miami. I mean, if you bought during the prime hot, maybe 2022, 2023 era of prices, you're probably losing about 30 or 40% from the price that you bought it from. So I understand where you're coming from, but that's unfortunately the market. And all I could tell you, if you're kind of underwater on your mortgage, is that at some point these prices will come back up. And when will they come back up? They'll come back up when the interest rates come down. Now, once again, this is a listing overload, folks, okay? This has nothing to do with a crash. And the prices themselves, if you take a look at the Case-Shiller report, and I would always suggest, if anybody is a real estate investor, speculator, or you're thinking about buying a house, always look at the Case-Shiller report, all right? Now, according to the latest Case-Shiller report, it reflects that a market is calibrating. The index shows that prices are still rising, but more slowly, okay? So, once again, I mean, even though we're seeing houses stay on the market, for a longer period of time, it doesn't necessarily mean that the median home value across America in general is going down. Now, if you go down here, this is where you're having the most fluctuations. You've got New York, you got Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Boston, Washington, D.C. I mean, these are areas where, you may have bought in on the high and you may be underwater on your mortgage. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. In my personal opinion, I think right now, you got to gauge what market you're in. You got to figure out where you want to live. And you have to make sure that if you're going to buy a home there, that if there's any probability that it'll go up in value. All right? Because that's the crux of buying a home. All right? Now, with that being said, I think it's a fairly decent time to buy a home, even with high interest rates right now, because when the rates lower, the prices of these homes are going to go higher by default. Just as I said with the metals, gold and silver, when interest rates lower, these commodities are going to go higher by default. And the reason the housing market is going to go higher is because it's going to be more enticing for people to go out and get a mortgage at these low rates. But let's say you bought in this market where you're starting to see prices come down. And let's say you buy into this market. Once they raise rates, once they lower rates, folks, that's when the housing market's going to come up and the value is going to go higher. And why do I know this? Well, the fucking private equity is buying up homes like it's going out of style. Give me a break. With individual home buyers on the sidelines, investors swoop into the market. All right? And you see, they see what I'm seeing. We have an inventory shortage, even though we have a lot of inventory on the market. The problem is that people are now renting more. All right, and that's why renting has gone up exponentially depending on the market. And that's why you've got private equity understanding that, hey, look, we'll pay high interest now for these prices, these home prices at the price now at high interest rates, when they go lower, the price of the value of the home is going to go higher. So the private equity can either use this as collateral, because once the prices of the value of the home goes higher, the equity of the home gains more value, and then you can refinance or use this as collateral for other financial purposes. And you see, that's what I'm suggesting for many of you to entertain. If you're in the position to be able to obtain a home, and don't go overboard. All right, that's the bad part about people, is they want the big ass home. They want the big ass home for the maximum value of their budget, and that is the stupidest shit you can do. All right, what you need to do is you need to get a home that is comparable for what you can pay every month, at least for the next 10 years. All right, and something that you can gain equity in. So if you put a down payment on it, you own at least 20% of it or 25% of it. Okay? And once interest rates go down, the value of the home is going to go higher. So it gives you the option whether to sell it, because now people are going to come to the market because mortgage rates have gone down, and it entices people to go and get a mortgage. So you can either sell it or you can refinance it on the new equity that you obtain because the home value goes up. Okay? This is why real estate is the easiest way to obtain wealth. All right? Remember that. Because real estate, look, let's say you buy a home for 6%, 6.5%, whatever the fucking interest rate is right now. Let's say you buy a home for 6.5%. All right? You throw whatever it is, you own 20% equity. All right? All right, and let's say you owe, I don't know, let's say the value is $200,000. Let's just say fictitiously. Let's say it's $200,000 and you own 20% of it. Well, when the interest rate comes down, especially if it comes down really exponentially, that $200,000 value could easily go, depending on the market.
They're eating the cats.
You've got to think about the market that you're getting this home in as well. That could go up to $250,000, $300,000, very, very easy. And then you can refinance the 20% that you had, and then the new equity that you have, because it gained value in a lower interest rate environment, which means that you can get a massive amount of capital. Of course, you're putting up your equity as collateral, but it opens you up to where now you've got capital to work with. And what I would suggest you do with that capital, put it back into the home. All right? Add value to the home, because the home has already gained value. The home has already gained value because you bought it at a high interest rate environment. The low interest rates came in. By default, the home gained value. You were able to refinance on that gained value, and then you put it back into the home to get even more value. All right? Adding value is what makes you rich in fucking real estate. So anyway, I hope that, for the folks that were wondering, I hope that helps out for the folks that were in the IC and in the True Capitalist Radio chat room that wanted to know about that. All right? So anyway, sorry for taking so much time on finance, but I know it's very important, and I haven't seen you guys in a couple of weeks. And by the way, not only is it private equity that's buying real estate right now, you know who else is buying real estate? Take a look at this. Fucking China. Fucking China. All right? Here we have some kind of, I don't know, diplomatic, economic kind of standoff with these people. All right? And lo and behold, China's coming in and buying up all. So listen, all right? There is a limited amount of value, or excuse me, a limited amount of inventory in the real estate market. So I'm just telling everybody right now, all right? Keep your eye, if you're in the position to buy a home and you see a market going down in value, and, you got to do your work. You got to go out there. You got to look at the neighborhood, You got to look at it. You got to see what businesses are around the neighborhood. Let's see if there's any graffiti around the neighborhood, or if you see houses getting gentrified, meaning they're being bought and flipped and renovated. I mean, these are factors that you got to take in when you're buying a home. Anyway, so let's continue. Look, before I get to the domestic stuff, I also want to talk about how, we don't have things go. It doesn't look rosy for us in the future of America's economy. Now, the first thing I'd like to show you is that we've got unemployment, layoffs, okay? up 75%. Actually, it's up 120, where is it? 140% from last year. All right? Up 140% from the same month last year. This is where we're at right now when it comes to layoffs. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in tech. I'm talking white-collar jobs. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in blue-collar jobs. We're seeing a lot of companies go under, filing for bankruptcy. They're closing a lot of locations. So, look, this is going to affect us here in the next few quarters. But then again, who knows? I mean, Trump just cut out $5 trillion in this big, beautiful bill. So maybe these people can, I don't know, go fucking be hired as ICE Gestapo agents or some shit. Who the fuck knows? Another thing that everybody's got to worry about tomorrow, believe it or not, tomorrow, millions, and I mean millions of folks that owe college debt are going to go default, and they're going to have their wages garnished, all right, starting tomorrow, August 1st. And I don't think that people are factoring in that at all, because I'll tell you right now, I think that is going to cause a major dip in, I would say, most Zoomer economic activity, all right? Millennial and Zoomer economic activity are going to take a major hit here. And it looks as though, the federal government isn't going to mess around. This is what I keep telling you. I kept telling you kids for like since 2008. I said in 2008, don't get a college degree. All right? Somebody who's selling fucking oranges on the corner has better economic outlook than you do if you're putting yourself into college debt before you even get a fucking job. All right? And now, you know, the piper is coming. All right? For all the folks that are out there that owe college debt, the piper is coming. And you know what's really sad is that in the midst of all this ridiculous, big, beautiful bill bullshit debate that was happening in Congress and amongst the MAGA chattering class, not one voice suggested that, hey, can we give the fucking people that owe all this money to the colleges a break? I mean, Trump, you said it yourself. These colleges brainwashed us. They're full of a bunch of commie fucking professors. Can you give us a break? Nope. And I told you, folks, that no matter who comes to power, no one's ever going to pay off your college debt. No one's ever going to pay off your college debt, because this is one of the few revenue-generating programs that actually makes profit for the fucking government. And you could thank Barack Obama for this scheme that has been put forth on you. Because prior to Obama, the stimulus package 2, which nationalized college debt, by the way, before then, you could just simply write off your goddamn college debt on your bankruptcy. And you didn't have to worry about it. That's what most of your fucking professors did, for Christ's sake. And when Obama came around, well, that went away very fast. And yet, the people that were so pro-Obama were all these college idiots that are affected by the college debt slave system that this fucker made up. So look, I know right now, and let's transition, no pun intended, from financial news to domestic news. Now, I know right now Trump is in a lot of trouble, okay? And I think everybody knows why, all right? Put the PC shot on. It's the Epstein. I don't mean to laugh, but, I mean, this has turned out to be an unbelievable circus joke of a cover-up. But Trump's Epstein problem is his biggest crisis of his presidency. And I don't think it's not only of his presidency. I think it could potentially bring down everyone who is aiding in this cover-up. Because it is a blatant cover-up, and I can't believe that this moral crisis has been bestowed upon America, because now I can't look at anybody who is still supporting Trump out here without thinking that they're a fucking pedophile, without thinking that if the name was big enough or they sold their soul to someone enough that they would bypass obviously covering up a child sex networking operation in order to sustain some guy they sold their soul to, that they told everybody at their family at the Thanksgiving table about every fucking Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I think this is fucking sick. I think it's fucking sick that we've got people out here that are still trying to justify this fucking cover-up. And you know who we have to really thank for bringing this to light, for bringing this to the public uproar? You know who we really have to thank? Elon Musk. All right? I mean, that's what, and that's who we should be, paying some homage to out here. Because if it wasn't for him coming out and making that blatant tweet, all right, saying that, hey, the reason you're never going to see the Epstein files is because Trump's name is all over him. Put the PC shot on. Take a look at this, all right? Musk sought to stoke the Trump-Epstein scandal. Mission accomplished. And you see, I don't know if y'all heard, but Trump put out a fucking Truth Social post saying that, look, I didn't mean that I wanted to get rid of the SpaceX. I didn't mean I want to get rid of Musk's operations with the government. As a matter of fact, I want to make more. I want to bring him in more from the government. I mean, he literally cucked here this week. All right, saying, you know what? I love Elon Musk. We're gonna call him for more. The government wants them to do more. And it's because he wants Musk to shut up about stoking this fucking Epstein scandal, which has already been lit. The fuse was lit by Elon Musk. Now Musk is being a little, coy about it, really isn't talking too much politics at this point because he wants those fucking contracts, all right? So, touche Elon Musk for bringing this to the public eye and putting fucking Trump into cuck mate, having him to fucking having to continue to kiss your ass even though he doesn't want to. Now, what is the big deal, right? All you MAGA people are like, well, so what? We're moving on. All right? I'll tell you what, it's a big deal. Most of America doesn't want it to go away. All right? Even though you MAGA-tards got rich saying, MAGA, MAGA, and, got rich grifting off this piece of shit. Look at this. Trump's approval rating sinks to below 40%. All right, and it's because America still has some kind of moral compass, for Christ's sake. All right, we're not going to just turn a blind eye for something that this idiot, this moron Trump propagated. He was the one that brought up the whole Epstein shit to begin with. And why? Because he thought that, hey, I'm the only one alive from that network to be able to say anything, right? And what am I talking about, that network? What am I talking about? Well, folks, what I'm about to present to you, in my personal opinion, all right, it is evidence that suggests that not only was Trump buddies with Epstein and maybe patronized Epstein's flock of pre-teenage prostitutes that were groomed by him and Ghislaine Maxwell. Folks, I have gone through so much painstaking investigation. I think that Trump was a part of it. He was helping traffic girls to Epstein, in my personal opinion. And let me go and present that material right now before all you MAGA-tards start saying that I'm a Democrat. It's all you fucking idiots said last year. And I told you that everything last year, if Trump comes into power, expect this, expect that, and that's everything. Everything's happening. All right? Rising inflation. All right? The war in Ukraine didn't end. All right? I mean, it's ridiculous. And take a look at this. Full panic mode. New report confirms Trump-related Epstein cover-up at the FBI. Now, how the hell do we know that Trump is covering all this up? Because believe it or not, you've got FBI whistleblowers that were a part of the task force in order to obtain all the documentation necessary to be able. I'm not looking at that devious Dave. This ain't a fucking goddamn ghost show, you fucking piece of shit. Anyway, as I was stating before I got rudely interrupted by some fucking clown over here, like I was stating, the whole reason why we know that Trump is covering up the Epstein shit in the FBI is because we have whistleblowers that have come to the other side, unfortunately. All right, and how we know this is true is that Turban Durbin, I'm talking about Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois, he has personal testimony from these FBI agents that state that FBI agents were told to flag any Epstein records that mention Trump at all. All right? Mention Trump at all. So this is why we know that there is a major cover-up at the FBI. See, look at this. FBI agents assigned to review files in a criminal case against Jeffrey Epstein were instructed to flag any documents that mention President Donald Trump, Senator Turbin Durbin said. And you see, folks, this is why the narrative of Trump's Epstein relation has legitimately evolved. All right? It evolved where I barely knew the guy. It evolved to now, oh, there's no Epstein files. He didn't kill him. It evolved to that, to, hey, if you continue to talk about Epstein, you're not MAGA. Remember when Trump said that? Hey, this is old news, and any of you people that are still talking about Epstein, you're not MAGA. So it went from that to, you know, I mean, it's ever evolving. And you know the latest thing that he said? The latest thing that he said, which, I mean, every time he tries to comment about this, it gets fucking worse and worse. All right. So aside from him trying to cover it up, we all know. All right. We all know he's trying to cover it up. Well, before I get to his words, let's get to the other side because the Democrats are coming in hard. All right. Did you see the Hunter Biden interview? Did y'all see that? Hunter Biden was recently interviewed by a YouTuber who goes by the name of Channel 5, I believe, Channel 5 News or something. And I got to show you this part where Hunter Biden makes a very, very interesting claim. And as a matter of fact, let's let Hunter Biden go ahead and say it for himself. All right, put the PC shot on. Hunter Biden discussing how Melania and Trump met. Very interesting story. Play it.
The choice to not release the files was because there's not much of interest on there, or because he's compromised in some capacity by what's in the files?
I don't know. I truly can only go by what other people are saying. And one of the things that I'm certain of is that what I said before is kind of the Occam's razor, which is that, you know, the simplest explanation is almost always true. And what's the simplest explanation is that of anyone in power right now, or anyone that held power to the degree that Donald Trump is holding power now, his connections to Jeffrey Epstein are beyond a doubt that he and Epstein were very close friends for a very long period of time. They spent an enormous time together. They spent an enormous time together around young women, as in his own words.
Trump's got more pictures with Epstein than I do with my own grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
No shit.
I mean,
No
just
shit.
think about this. Is when Ghislaine, how do you pronounce
It's technically Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
I know that.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell is when she gets convicted, and he's asked about it. And this is when he was president, 2020 still. And he goes, you know, I wish her well.
I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
And then he explains that comment. Like, she's a good person, and I wish her well. Now, she's just been convicted of sex trafficking and, you know, dozens and dozens of teenage girls. When he's then pressed on it in an interview after that, he says, I wish her well. I wish everyone well. I don't wish anyone harm. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
He can't wish anyone well on Christmas morning without sending out a tweet or Truth Social or whatever it is, you know, blaming the leftist, you know, socialist, communist Democrats and Joe Biden and blah, 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 blah. I mean, literally, on Easter Sunday, he doesn't wish anybody well. There's never been a time in which he's ever, in my estimation, is wished anyone well, let alone a convicted sex trafficker.
Yeah.
And so what's going on there? Okay, well, they knew each other well. They spent an enormous time together. According to his biographer, is that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Melania. That's how Melania and the First Lady and the President met.
Really?
Yeah.
Epstein made the intro.
Yeah, according to Michael Wolff.
Yeah.
And so I only can go by what people are saying, and I don't know.
Now, did you hear that? All right. Did you hear that? Hunter Biden is saying that Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. I mean, whoa. Now, many people are saying, wait a minute, Ghost. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know about that. Well, believe it or not, this was amplified by one James Cuball Carville, which, of course, is a notorious Democratic consultant, helped Bill Clinton win the election. He came out today and said something unbelievable. All right, put the PC shot on. This is why I'm telling you the Democrats are not, they're coming in hard, dude. Not even joking. Play this.
So I'll turn it back over. I'll just make one point. To me, a key figure in this is Melania.
Melania.
Okay, and I think that's at the bottom of what they don't want to get out, because it was all modeling agencies. Remember, Trump had a modeling agency.
Oh, shit.
Then Epstein got into the modeling agency,
Whoa.
and John-Luc Bernal,
Luke
the guy in
Bernal,
Paris,
he's
the
naming
modeling agent,
names.
hung himself.
He's naming
2 out of
names.
3 people ended up hanging themselves. There is, I really believe this, Jack. There is a deep, dark secret somewhere underneath all this.
There is. And look, I'm not trying to side with the Democrats on this, but unfortunately, this is going to dark fucking places. This is going to dark places. And I'm going to continue to show, I'm going to show you, more evidence that would suggest that Trump, not only was he a potential patronizer of Epstein's fucking pre-teenage prostitution harem. But, I mean, he was around a whole bunch of people that are accused of sex crimes. I mean, first and foremost, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so we all know that. What's another one? Ghislaine Maxwell. For all those that don't know, she groomed the chicks in order for them to be okay with prostituting themselves. Now, she would refer to her groomed teenage girls as slaves. All right? For all those that don't believe me, let me just go ahead and refresh your memory. All right? All right, take a look at this. Put the PC shot on. All right? Ghislaine Maxwell trained underage girls as sex slaves, documents allege. All right? And this came out all in the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation and trial. All right? So this is the kind of person right now that Trump is even considering pardoning. He already partied with her. Giving her a pardon. All right? He's thinking about giving her a pardon. He's already partied with her. Giving her a pardon. Okay? So that's Ghislaine Maxwell. All right? Who else do we got? Leon Black. Now, who the fuck is Leon Black? Leon Black is a Trump longtime New York donor that attended the president's fundraisers and shared advisors tied to the Mar-a-Lago Circle. Now, why is he such a controversial figure? Well, a settlement agreement was reached with the U.S. Virgin Islands that revealed that Black had bankrolled Epstein. Black paid the territory $62.5 million to end any claims from its 3-year sex trafficking investigation. But he has denied any misconduct in the Epstein crimes, saying, quote, he deeply regrets their connection. All right? Separately, however, Black has faced multiple sexual misconduct claims linked to Epstein properties. In July of 2023, a lawsuit contends Black raped a 16-year-old girl with Down syndrome in Epstein's Manhattan townhouse. Allegation by Black vehemently he denies. All right, so this is this guy. All right, Leon Black. All right, paid the Virgin Islands $62.5 million to go away. Nothing to see here at Lolita Island. Shut your hole. And then you got John Casablancas. All right? You got John Casablancas. Now, who the fuck is John Casablanca? Well, he has, and I think the damn fucking modeling agency's still around, but he had the biggest teenage modeling agency in the country. And he was eventually convicted of, raping and having sex with, girls as young as 14 and 15. And he conveniently died in 2013 of super cancer. Okay? Now, why is John Casablancas so important? Because he was a part of the sexual trafficking operation, in my personal opinion. It says right here, Casablancas, who died at 70 in 2013, faced repeated accusations of sexual relationships with 14 to 15-year-old models. And in 2002, a civil lawsuit alleged that he impregnated a 15-year-old. So how close was John Casablancas to Trump? Very close. So close that they used to kind of, take a look at young girls together. I'm not joking. I'm not joking, for Christ's sake. All right? I mean, this, here, let me show you, okay, for all those folks that think that I'm just some fucking piece of shit that's just trying to throw shit at a wall to see what sticks. Let me show you, because I've got footage. I've got all kinds of shit. Now, what you're about to see is old footage. You're probably not going to be able to hear it because it's VHS recorded. But put the PC shot on. Here's Trump looking at 14, 15-year-old models for his teenage pageant. And he's sitting at the same table, at the same round table, as John Casablanca. Why? Because John Casablanca was the one that supplied the girls here. Play it.
Participated in an exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
Your 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We made measure again tonight before the game.
By the way, John Casablanca's right here. That's John Casablanca right here. And there's Trump.
Thank you very much.
There's Trump.
The concentration was intense
There's Trump
inside
right there.
the judging room
I don't like you as you are.
and out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable
Something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second?
Now, Mag is going to say nothing wrong with this now, right?
Thank
you.
When it came time to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed
There's
his
John
or her
Casablanca
opinion.
right there. There's John Casablanca right there. Okay, so that goes to show you that Trump, who was a real estate developer, which it's questionable why he invested in a teenage pageantry, and not just one, but many teenage pageants to begin with. All right, but hold it right there. I've got some folks that donated here. I want to say cheers to the to the person, American Anime Okatu, with a buy me a coffee. Can you build equity on a modular home as long as you own the land? If you own the land, then yes. I hope that answers your question. Cheers. Blades : I mentioned this last time, and you said that name, but I don't know if you read the dono. John Casablanca is father of Julian Casablancas, the lead singer of the Stokes. And his mother was one of his underage models in the John Casablanca stable. He banged her at like 17. Well, this is what I'm saying. All right, this is what I'm talking about out here. Now, that's why I bring up John Casablanca. And hold on, Devious Dave, his actual name is Blockowitz, by the way. I'm not even kidding. Are you? Well, whatever his name is, he was very close to Trump. And Trump used to like basking in these type of teenage pageant events. As a matter of fact, here's a video of him boasting about it in a video from the fucking 90s. Take a look at this.
A Look of the Year contest is the ultimate contest for women that want to go all the way in the modeling business.
Featuring 58 of the world's most beautiful young women competing for more than $700,000 in prizes.
Wow.
The chance of a dream come true, a career as one of modeling's superstars. We'll take you behind the scenes and onto the runway. You'll see the fun, feel the excitement. You'll pick your favorite, along with our panel of expert and celebrity judges, and you'll enjoy front row VIP seats at our gala evening. One of these contestants will be selected as the Girl Look of the Year.
A Look of the Year contest is the ultimate contest.
Now, once again, I mean, these are teenage girls. I mean, these are teens that we're talking about out here. By the way, for all those that don't know, I think people have seen this infamous picture. And believe it or not, this is actually a real picture. This is a picture of Trump with his kids next to Epstein. There's John Casablanca right there. There's John Casablanca right the fuck right there. So, FYI, all right, FYI. All right, but let's continue. All right, I mean, I could just let's look at this article here. All right, let's look at this article here, depicting the same fucking shit that I just showed you. Look at the same picture. All right, teen models, powerful men, and private dinners when Trump hosted Look of the Year. When Trump hosted Look of the Year. And you see, you've got idiots like Drew the Conqueror over here saying, they look 18. They look 18. Teen models, you fucking idiot. All right? Teen fucking models. Fucking moron. On September 1991, a large private yacht cruised towards the Statue of Liberty. It was clear, breezy evening, and from the upper deck of the Spirit of New York, a golden sunset could be seen glinting off the Manhattan skyline. Downstairs, a party was in flow. Scores of teenager girls in evening dresses and miniskirts, some as young as 14. All right? All right, all of you idiots that are like, they look 18, you're a fucking pedophile. All you fucking idiots that are trying to justify this, you fucking people are pieces of fucking Woody Allen butt-loving pedophile crap. All right? Fucking morons. I'm not even joking around. You're fucking Woody Allen butt-loving pedophile crap. Jesus Christ. All right? And let us continue, because, I mean, I could do this all night. I could do this shit all night. Okay, now, this is a very interesting article that Maureen Dowd, which is a very notable columnist out of the New York Times here, put the PC shot on. Take a look at this, okay? It says Trump, different from the other candidates, and it says right here in this article, and I quote, I am just very popular with the black populace. When Puff Daddy has a party, I'm the person he calls. All right? So there you go. I mean, what? I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? And by the way, if y'all don't know, Trump is considering a pardon for Diddy. Can you believe that? I mean, come on. Give me a fucking break. He's considering a pardon for fucking Ghislaine Maxwell. He's considering pardon for fucking Diddy. All right? Give me a fucking break, man. I mean, this is the moral crisis that we're having in our country. This is the moral crisis that we're having in our fucking country right now. And you've got people that are defending this. And anybody who's defending this, you're a fucking piece of shit. I wouldn't trust you with my dog, you fucking piece of shit. Pedo lover. I can't believe this shit. This is where we're at in American civilization. This is what was this always America? Huh? Was child sex abuse always some kind of an American sport? And I was just oblivious to this crap? I'm serious. I'm fucking serious. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe it. Now, who the fuck is the guy that Cue Ball Carville was talking about? Jean-Luc Brunel. This is him right here. With a bunch of teenage models from Europe. All right, he was the European John Casablanca, and he was a part of this network. What happened to him? He's fucking dead. He died. They suicided this guy. And they suicided him right before, Trump had any kind of political ambitions. So the only person that's still alive into all this networking of teenage girls and then giving them to Epstein or whatever the fuck happened is Trump. All right, it's fucking Trump. He's the only one still alive. And that's why he's trying to do whatever it takes from these fucking sick-ass loyalists in order for them to give him cover, all right? I mean, here, have you seen this jerk-off? Look at this jerk-off here. I don't know if y'all seen this moron. This guy is a senator out of Oklahoma called Mark Wayne Mullen. Listen, this moron says what they're doing, and he fucking catches himself and doesn't realize it. Take a look at this.
I'm sure this would be handled just like any other thing that they've tried to go after, like the baseless impeachments. or the baseless special counsels, or the unbelievable amount of charges they tried to file against the president. I'm sure this would be handled the exact same way. What we're simply wanting to do here is give them cover. So if my colleague,
we're trying to give him cover.
From
look
Arizona,
look at me.
Actually wants transparency.
Look
he
at
would
him. Look at him.
drop his objection
Look
to my
at this
resolution.
fucking idiot.
I don't know, 8 years.
What an idiot. I mean, we're trying to give him cover, and he's like, oh shit, did I really say that? Did I say cover? I mean, you've got these people that are a part of the Republican Party that are a part of this cover-up. I mean, anybody who is still covering up this fucking Epstein shit, you're going to be taken down too. All right? And just on a footnote, this guy, Mullen, this guy's an absolute idiot. Watch Jake Tapper, of all people. This fucking loser Jake Tapper, check him on CNN.
And that's why Attorney General Bondi was saying for months. Well, then tell me why for months she was saying that she's going to release the information tomorrow.
We made the assumption that the judges would release the order and allow the evidence that they had, that it could be heard. But it's all been sealed. And so if it's been a sealed case, we can't release it until the judges allow us to release it. And you would think common sense would play. That's why they asked for transparency. We want transparency. We want the judges to have transparency in this too. But remember, there was a plea deal that was struck in 2009, way before I was in office, way before Trump was even considering to be in office, way before Pam Bondi was in office, way before Kash Patel was director. 2009, there was a sweetheart plea deal that was made underneath the Obama administration with Epstein.
No, it wasn't.
That sweetheart has not been.
You see, these idiots that are backing up Trump don't even know the fucking history of the case. All right? It was George Bush Jr.'s administration that made the plea deal. By the way, the guy who made the plea deal at the time for the Department of Justice is in the cabinet of the Trump administration. All right? The guy who made the fucking deal that this stupid idiot Mullen is criticizing is in the fucking administration. Play it.
It was 2000.
Not? Well, when was the case heard?
They're eating the cats.
It was 2008. It was the U.S. attorney at the time was a guy named Alex Acosta. He was a Bush appointee. He went on to become President Trump's Secretary of Labor. It all took place
in
2000.
Do you hear that? I mean, this fucking idiot doesn't even know what he's putting his own fucking morality, his own fucking name on the line for. He doesn't have any idea. All right? This is MAGA right here. Just going in blind and not knowing what the fuck they're talking about whatsoever. And Red Eyes Black Dragon, what about Bill Clinton? Who gives a shit about Bill Clinton? Let's take him down too. All right, and Marshall Burns, get the hell out of here, all right, you fucking loser. Anyway, listen to this idiot. He thought that Obama gave the deal and doesn't realize that the attorney general or the deputy attorney general at the time was fucking this idiot Acosta, who is now the Secretary of Labor in the Trump administration. This guy's criticizing the deal of somebody who's in the Trump administration. That's how stupid this shit is.
Who was in office at the time?
2008, George W. Bush.
Who was in office at the time?
George W. Bush.
No, 2009 is when the case came out, and it was and Obama was in office at the time.
No,
it's not true.
It's not true.
But let me ask you a question.
I mean, look at how fucking stupid these people are. This is MAGA. This is how stupid these fucking people are. Jesus Christ. And look, let's go back to, everybody was talking shit. Oh, you believe some crackhead like Hunter Biden? What the hell is that, Ghost? Hey, he's quoting the biographer of Donald Trump, a man by the name of Michael Wolff. Now, I have played Michael Wolff's audio of him interviewing Epstein and Epstein admitting that him and Trump were best friends for a decade. All right? Well, here is, let me not get ahead of myself, all right? Before I do that, let's go ahead and continue with where we're at now, all right? Where we're at now. So I showed you the close connections of Trump, John Casablanca, Burnell, Epstein, Ghislaine. Now, things really took a turn in this ever-evolving Trump explanation of this Epstein cover-up when the Wall Street Journal published this article. And here's the article right here. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him bawdy letters for his 50th birthday album, and one was from Trump. Now, Trump is trying to say that this is absolutely untrue and is throwing a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal, and the Wall Street Journal is standing fast. And the reason is, folks, is because Michael Wolff, the guy that was quoted by Hunter Biden earlier, is suggesting that Ghislaine is confident that Trump will get her out. All right, look at this. Ghislaine believed Trump will save her. Now she's documenting everything behind bars. Well, what is she documenting? Well, it's believed, folks, that she or people from her estate were the ones that sent the letter that Trump is alleging is untrue. And here's Michael Wolff, Trump's own biographer. Play it. Here it is.
White House, they believe that the story in the Wall Street Journal about the birthday greeting that Donald Trump, the salacious birthday greeting that Donald Trump sent Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 on the occasion of his 50th birthday, was a leak from the Maxwell family. And in the White House, they regarded this as, quote, a shot across the bow. So a threat, you know, if that Ghislaine had damaging material on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's lawyer, who, as it happens, is also the number 2 in the United States Justice Department.
Yes. Did you see? Now he's talking to Charlie Rose here. Now, the Deputy Attorney General is actually the personal attorney of Donald Trump. He sent the Deputy Attorney General to talk to Ghislaine personally, is what he's explaining here.
But principally is Donald Trump's own lawyer went down, and I expect to try to figure out exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell has, and then they would figure out how they might have to handle that.
Yep, so they're going to have to figure out how they're going to handle what Ghislaine has in store for these people. All right, because Ghislaine holds all the cards. You see, Trump likes to use that euphemism. You know, yeah, I got the cards. All right, and look, Michael Wolff continues and suggests the following. All right, listen to this. Is his biographer. I'm not joking. This guy has access to the White House. This guy has access to Trump. He's the guy who had access to Epstein. This guy's his biographer. He's the equivalent of fucking Woodward, because Woodward is usually the biographer to most presidents. All right? But Michael Wolff, this is the editor-in-chief of Newsweek. Here's another interesting tidbit in which he interviewed Epstein for like 60 hours. All right? Listen to what he said Epstein did here.
At any rate, at one point, after Trump had been elected, I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, "Wait a minute, I got to show you something." And then he went into his safe, and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants, and the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing, covering
their mouths.
Yeah, exactly, and pointing. 3 or 4 girls, and those are the ones I specifically remember. And my assumption is that they were in the safe, and I have seen them on other occasions take them out of the safe, and I think it's certainly not unlikely that they were in the safe when the FBI came in after his arrest and took everything from from the house, including everything that was in the safe.
So the FBI has those in question. Okay. So if the FBI doesn't produce that, then they're withholding evidence. And I'm telling you, this is going to get very interesting, because the longer this goes on and the longer they continue to kind of, I don't know, evolve the story, I mean, this could not only bring down Trump, it could bring down everybody who tried to cover this damn fucking horrific crime, this sex network up. It could bring everybody down. And look, I mean, fucking Trump doesn't care. All right? I mean, Trump has suggested here recently that the whole Epstein-Trump breakup came down to when Trump said, and this was here recently, that he was trying to poach his employee, which is Guthrie. All right? This poor girl who got suicided, named Virginia Roberts Guthrie, who was just suicided about 4 or 5 weeks ago. All right? Now, Trump is claiming that that's when the Epstein-Trump connection disconnected, was that he was poaching, Epstein was poaching Guthrie, which, by the way, was 16 years old at the time, at Mar-a-Lago. She worked in the spa. She worked in the spa at Mar-a-Lago at 16 years old. Now, what is, in my, I'm sorry, when I think of spas, I think of, very devious things happening. What was a 16-year-old, all right, doing at Mar-a-Lago Spa? And what makes it even worse is that if it was true, because that's what he said here recently. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised that I don't have it. Let me just go ahead and try to find this here, so that I can't believe I don't have it. Sorry about it. But I want you to hear that he says that Trump tried to take away his employee, or I should say Epstein tried to take away his employee, which was he claims 17, but according to reports, she was as young as 16 years old. At 16 years old. And that's what Trump tried to claim is the reasoning his disconnection from Epstein actually happened. All right, so I cannot believe that Trump is even going there, because it would suggest that if Trump had to have known that Epstein was a fucking creep. He had to have known. Here, is this it?
Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. I'm just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Were some of them young women? Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women? What did they do?
In the spa.
In the spa?
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Guthrie?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people.
I think so. Yes, it
he
was.
Stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
We've seen how good.
Now, once again, this was a 16-year-old girl that worked at Mar-a-Lago Spa. Now, if Trump kicked out Epstein knowing that he was poaching his 16-year-old spa employees, then that would suggest that Trump knew that this guy was a fucking predator and knew it from the start. Why else would he even give a shit if Epstein, if he was a good friend of his and didn't think that he was a fucking pedo fucking pimp, why else would he have a problem with Epstein poaching his employees and giving them a better opportunity? You know, I mean, why? I mean, it's already inferring in that, and that was taken from Air Force One when they were in the air. That would imply that he knew that Epstein was poaching his employees to be a part of his pedo pimp harem. And there, right there, folks, is the picture of Ghislaine Maxwell, Virginia Giuffre, when she was 16 years old, next to Prince Andrew, right before a alleged sexual liaison. All right? So if Trump knew it, and look, I know people are saying, so what? She's 16, she can work at a fucking spa? Dude, this is why I'm telling you, anybody who's defending this, they're a fucking pedophile as far as I'm concerned. Anybody who's still defending this, you're a fucking pedophile. I don't give a fuck what you say. Fuck you. All right? And this poor girl got suicided like 3 or 4 fucking months ago. 3 or 4 weeks ago. Unfucking believable. So that blows it wide open that Trump is a lot closer to Epstein than just merely an acquaintance. Okay? And I think that the reason Trump is saying that is because he knows all this is getting closer and closer to him. All right? It's getting so close that, once again, going back to that one article that was published by the Wall Street Journal, okay? And take a look at the date on that. That was July 17th when they released that. Okay, once they released that, you had that deputy attorney general, which is Trump's lawyer, visit Ghislaine Maxwell to see what the fuck she wants. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes out and says the following. And by the way, this is right before he took off to the EU to have that whatever deal that he made. Put the PC shot on. Listen to this, all right? Will he pardon Ghislaine?
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not done.
I'm allowed to do it. I'm allowed to do it.
Why has the dollar?
Why would he even say that? Why would he say that he's allowed to do it? Because in my opinion, he's prepping everybody for this. Because Ghislaine has got the cards unless something happens to her. And by the way, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't kill herself. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't have a sudden heart attack. Ghislaine Maxwell didn't accidentally fall off the fucking stairs or the railing of her prison. Ghislaine Maxwell is the only person alive that can truly implicate Trump. And if Trump does anything in a positive way to Ghislaine Maxwell, you know that Trump was a part of this beyond just a mere acquaintance of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, look, he gets to the EU. They sign the deal, and the press asks him again. Okay, this is like 24 hours later. The press asks him again, will you pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Play it.
Rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell when you landed. Is that something you would ever consider? And why?
Pardon for who?
For Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but
I'm
nobody's
allowed to
approached
give
me
it to her.
with Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about that.
I mean, look at this guy. He can't say no. He can't say no. So I'm allowed to do it. He's already laying the foundation. And you see, folks, going back to the girl that he claims was poached by Epstein, which he claims is the reason why he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, the family of Virginia Giuffre is urging Trump not to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, a monster who deserves to rot in prison. All right? The reaction of the reaction of Virginia Giuffre's family to a potential pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable, dude.
New fiery fallout this morning from the family of one of Jeffrey Epstein's most vocal accusers, Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Mar-a-Lago decades ago and died by suicide in April. In a statement released overnight, Giuffre's family saying it was shocking to hear the president invoke their sister in his comments Tuesday on Air Force One, with the president saying Epstein stole Giuffre from his Mar-a-Lago club years ago.
He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know. None whatsoever.
In a statement, the Giuffre family says it makes us ask if he was aware of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal actions, adding, "We and the public are asking for answers. Survivors deserve this." The White House press secretary telling NBC News President Trump was directly responding to a question posed by a reporter about Ms. Giuffre. He did not bring her up. This week, the president also describing a dispute he says he had with Epstein related to Mar-a-Lago workers.
No, he took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it. And I said, stay the hell out of here.
President Trump has denied any knowledge of wrongdoing by Epstein, a friend of his in the 90s before their falling out. The convicted sex offender died by suicide in prison in 2019.
All these people are dying of suicide.
His accomplice and former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, is still behind bars. Last week, spending 9 hours being interviewed by the number 2 at the
9 hours with Todd Blanche, which not only is the deputy general secretary, or the deputy top cop, attorney general, he's also Trump's personal lawyer. 9 hours talking to Maxwell.
Justice Department, who was also the president's former personal attorney. Giuffre said she was a teenager when Maxwell recruited her, something she described to Savannah in a 2019 Dateline interview.
In her mind, I believe she doesn't think that what she did was wrong. That's the kind of evil monster she is.
Giuffre's family now saying the government and the president should never consider giving Maxwell any leniency. President Trump has said he hadn't thought about a pardon for Maxwell, but notably, he hasn't ruled one out.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it.
There you go. There you go. So you've got the woman's family, who he is invoking as the reason why he no longer talked to Epstein and kicked out of Mar-a-Lago, which was 16 years old at the time. All right, he's claiming that that was the reason. I'd like to know what was a 16-year-old or 17-year-old doing as an employee of a spa at a resort like Mar-a-Lago. I mean, you all know what spas are. Go to a fucking Asian spa and see what happens in there, all right? Give me a break. All right, you think I'm stupid? Give me a fucking break. This, in my opinion, shows that at least, at the very minimum, Trump knew of Epstein's actions, and that's why he took proper precautions to prevent his employees at his spa, of all places, from being poached on. I mean, that's why I'm saying, you would think, you know, a low employee like a spa person who's probably getting a better opportunity financially, I mean, that's why they would leave a job. Why would he care? Why would he give a shit? You see, that admission by Trump alone suggests that he knew that Epstein was a fucking pedo pimp and that it was getting so close to him because, believe it or not, when this episode took place, I believe it was in what, 04, 05, whatever the fuck it was, a few years later, he got convicted. I'm talking Epstein. So that was another motivating factor on why Trump kicked him out of the goddamn Mar-a-Lago. All right, the feds were getting close and close to him. As a matter of fact, I personally believe that that's why Trump thought that he was so confident, that he was so confident about invoking Epstein against his enemies, because I personally believe that he helped bust Epstein to the feds. Everybody thinks that, oh, you know, Epstein's a Fed, no, I think it was fucking Trump. And that's why he was allowed to run for president. He was allowed to be president. And because, you know, you have other powers that, you know, don't like that he's using his leverage because he's privy to these kinds of situations as it relates to Epstein's island and all his teenage hookups, that now all gloves are off. Now, Trump's explanation is, well, this is a hoax, because if the Democrats had anything, they would have released it. And my argument is they're ready to release it now because the Democrat Party is in a state of renewal. They don't give a shit about the old cows anymore. They don't give a shit about fucking Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, John Kerry, Chuck Schumer. They don't give a shit. They want everything exposed because then the new blood takes control of the seniority of the Democratic Party. So the Democrats are willing to sacrifice the Clintons, John Kerry, anybody who's connected to Epstein related to the Democratic Party. They're willing to sacrifice them in order to bring down Trump. And that's why Trump is doing everything he can, throwing shit on a wall to see what sticks, from the Epstein list doesn't exist to, oh, it's a hoax. Oh, they put my name in it, because that's what he's going to fucking say. They put my name in it. It's not true. This is all a bunch of crap. Bullshit. Bullshit. Anyway, let me get to some of these buy me a coffees. Ghost is a diabetic bitch. Hey, Ghost, the only reason you don't trust your dog to us is because Templeton died. That's great. Thank you for invoking my dead dog, you fucking piece of shit. And then we got someone, hey, Ghost, just got into the show, hoping you're having a good thirsty Thursday. I'm doing well, someone. Go fucking suck an egg, asshole. And then we got belligerent Brian. The Maxwell family are scumbucket worth looking into just on their own. Robert Maxwell is sizzling in hell. Well, Robert Maxwell, which is Ghislaine Maxwell's father, was Mossad. All right, he had actually infiltrated the White House and had accessibility in and out during the Reagan White House. And when the Reagan White House found out he was Mossad, he was not only kicked out of the goddamn White House, he was subsequently killed.
They're eating the cats.
I'm just saying, all right? I'm just saying. And we got Gino X 1987 with a buy me a coffee. There's a deep Israel connection to Epstein that nobody is talking about. He didn't have a temple or he didn't have that temple on his island for nothing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Look, listen, I am not. This is obviously some kind of Mossad, some kind of black operative situation with Epstein. But at the same time, Epstein was allowed to do this, and Trump and John Casablancas and Brunel and all the people that I just mentioned, they were allowed to do this because apparently they had enough influence within municipal and state and fucking federal governments to be able to do this for so long that as a result, it's coming back around to haunt Trump. All right, and he's trying to do whatever it takes to prevent any of this from coming out. And look, he may have immunity to this because of the whole president shit, but everybody who is out there trying to cover this up, you don't. All right? And that's a warning to everybody, from the GOP to the fucking MAGA chattering class to fucking the Speaker of the House, the fucking everybody, the fucking DOJ, the FBI, everybody who's covering this up, you can be prosecuted. All right, you could be the one that takes the fall for Trump for hiding his affiliation, and not just affiliation, but in my opinion, contribution to the Epstein fucking child sex network, in my opinion. So that's my take when it comes to Trump and Epstein. He has more than a motivation in order for this to go away, because he was not only just a patron, a friend of this guy. I think he was a part of it. And it got close to him. Epstein was just going into Mar-a-Lago getting 16-year-olds like it was no big deal. And, I think Trump maybe knew the feds were on to him and said, get the fuck out of here, and probably turned him into the feds. As a matter of fact, that's what Epstein believes. And Epstein told Wolf, once again, the biographer, Michael Wolf, he told him that. So with that, look, I know that many people are kind of tired of this Epstein thing, but that's what Trump wants. He wants you to be tired. He wants you to be tired in order for you to have it go away so he can do other shit. So what is he doing? He's trying to throw shit on a wall to see what sticks. He keeps calling for the arrest of Obama and Hillary Clinton, which, look, I don't give a shit really, but let's arrest Obama for ruining America, not because this ridiculous, pathetic Russia bullshit. All right? Obama should be arrested for turning America into a bunch of welfare fucking losers. That's what he should be arrested for. All right? But no, we got to arrest him because he did shit to me. He did this shit to me. Fuck you, dude. Anyway, Gino X 1987 said, my prognostication for this, it'll come out. He was on Epstein Island. Trump will say Obama and the Democrats did it. There will be a call for an impeachment. Every Republican will vote no. It gets swept under the rug as a hoax, and Trump gets away with it again. I don't think so. And even if that's the case, all right, even if that's the case there, Gino, I think that the pressure of this constant barrage of investigating and inquiry into the Epstein-Trump connection is getting to him. You could tell he's getting more haggard. He's having to admit that he has health problems. I mean, the pressure of having to keep that disgusting, pathetic, illegal fucking child sex burden on the back of your conscience. I mean, even the soulless of the soulless pieces of shit can't keep that suppressed and compartmentalized. All right? So give me a break. But anyway, what is Trump doing? What is Trump doing now? Well, he's trying to buy his own Gestapo with this big, beautiful bill that was passed by this fucking pathetic Congress. All right? He wants ICE Gestapo employee recruits. All right? And you got to be patriotic. They're going to give you a $50,000 signing bonus and pay you six figures so that you can put the boot on the neck of American people. Because if you think this is for immigration, you're a fucking idiot. All right? If you think that this fucking unconstitutional Gestapo bullshit is for fucking immigrants, you're a fucking moron. All right? Fucking Trump is rolling out the totalitarianism. He is fucking ripping up the Constitution because the American public had become a threat to America's continuity. And I'll say it, and I'll continue to say it. The American public are a bunch of fucking idiots, and what they're doing is contributing to the degradation of this great social experiment that we call America. All right, it's the American people that are the ones that are tearing down this country. Their ignorance, their arrogance. All right, their fucking entitlement. That's what's destroying America. Because look at this. This is not for immigrants. All right, this is for you. This is for me. Okay? And if you don't know that, you're a fucking idiot. And guess what? It's not just a boot. It's not just a boot on our fucking neck. All right? It's not just a boot on our neck. Guess what? Did you see what he fucking just passed? Huh? Did you? You fucking morons, wake up! Did you hear what he just passed, you fucking morons? He just passed a health tracking system. All right? With all your fucking stupid private fucking data that you thought was protected by HIPAA, he's going to give big tech, fucking Microsoft and Meta and all these fuckers, all of your fucking goddamn health data. Now, who cares, Ghost? Okay, who cares? You know what? You want to know why you should care? Because this is beyond the boot on the neck. All right? This is where all you idiots that wear all those fitness fucking watches and the fucking fitness rings and shit, this is going to allow the fucking government to dictate what you're supposed to eat. All right? You're too fat. All right? You don't deserve to eat this. You're too fat. You got too much cholesterol. Do you understand? This is what this shit is all about, you fucking morons. And you people care more about some transgendered, whether or not they're going to go into a fucking bathroom or not, man. All right? You've been fooled. All right, the American public are a bunch of fucking idiots because they are allowing this to happen. And let me tell you something. You idiots out there that are championing this because, I don't know, they're putting some white fucking blonde hair bimbo on a fucking jean commercial and claiming that you're winning this shit culturally, you ain't winning a goddamn thing. Totalitarianism is coming in right from underneath your noses, and you people could care less as long as you got some big jiggly tits, whether it's animation or real, whether or not you got a fucking video game in front of your face, whether or not you're going Comic-Con. This is all you fucking dumb, entitled, arrogant fucking piece of shit Americans care about. And that's why I'm saying America is not its people, all right? And you could quote me on that. America is not its people. America is the Constitution. Because it's the Constitution that give the inhabitants of this geopolitical landmass the rights that we have. All right? It's not the fucking people. All right? Fuck the people. All right? It's about the Constitution and the people that are protecting that document. And when you got the majority of the American people not giving a rat's ass, or let alone two rat's asses, about the Constitution and the continuity of that fucking document they're in, then we're going to lose our freedom. We're going to lose the last bastion of freedom in the world today because of the ignorance and the arrogance and the entitlement of the American infantile fucking piece of shit people. Unfucking believable. And there's no changing this. There's no change in these morons. I've told you time and time again, we've got over 60% of the American people collecting a goddamn entitlement. We've got 60% of the American shithead people collecting an entitlement, and it's these people that are out here championing on the fucking social media when you got fucking people that are productive, whether they're legal or not. They're productive, they have got jobs, they've got families, they own properties, they're being taken away from their families. You're seeing episodes of people crying, separate families, and you got fucking loser American people that collect the fucking government entitlement saying, yeah, this is what I voted for. Well, fuck you. All right, what this administration has done has taken the worst of America and has made it main fucking stream. All right? America's not its people. It's the fucking document. I'll tell you what it is, not just the document of the Constitution. It's our forefathers that fought the revolution in order for us to have this experiment on this landmass. All right? It's the thinkers, the philosophers that inspired our forefathers. I'm talking about the Enlightenment thinkers. Because, folks, prior to the Enlightenment thinkers, the reason feudalism lasted so long was because the political philosophers of the time wrote political philosophy and social organization based upon the concept that the true essence of man was bad. That the true essence of man was bad. And you see, the Enlightenment thinkers, they thought a revolutionary way different. They thought that if given the right context, if given the right government, if given the right social organizational philosophy, that the true essence of man would be good. And you see, that's the basis of the American experiment. It's our forefathers that gave us this document of the Constitution and how to govern and how to be able to separate powers and hopefully make sure that we don't have centralization of power, which is what Trump is doing and MAGA is fanning their nuts to. So that's why I'm telling you right now, all right? The American people, what a bunch of crap, all right? Most of you, I'm talking 60% of you, are a detriment to this country. More than 60% of you don't contribute shit to the productivity of this country. And that's why all this totalitarianism that's coming in, it's to rein you losers in. All right? It's to rein you fucking waste of human life American people that refuse to do anything with your fucking pathetic lives. Instead of taking money out of my pocket, out of all the taxpayers' pockets, this is to rein you people in. And I don't know how to feel about it. You know, part of me is like, you know what, this is bad. I don't like this totalitarianism. But then again, I look at the riffraff that we call the American people. I take a look at the hip-hop culture. I take a look at the OnlyFans culture. I take a look at the anime and gaming fucking fruitball fucking man-child cultures. I take a look at the general culture of America, and it's nothing but man-child entitlement. It's non-productivity. It's people that are wasting their lives, that are useless eaters, and are contributing nothing. And this is why America is being flushed down the toilet. Because I'm talking about this government, all right, that's made for the people, by the people, is represented by the ugliness and the entitlement, the arrogance, the ignorance of the American people. And if you want my opinion, I think we need voter reform. I don't think 60% of the American people should be allowed to vote. If you collect a government fucking entitlement, you should not be allowed to vote. You are not productive. You're a piece of shit. All right? I don't give a shit if I offend you, man. If you're collecting a government entitlement, then you're a fucking asshole. You're taking out of my pocket and everybody else out there that's working their productive asses off. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about this, folks. Because once we go out here and we deport the people that are productive, okay, that's what's causing the price of fucking shit going higher. Aside from the tariffs, we got people that are not going out there. These American losers that the Republicans always talk about that are sitting in their fucking mommy's basements and playing video games, these fuckers are not going to go out there and pick the fields. They're not going to go out there and tend to the livestock. They're not doing it. They're not getting the jobs in construction. They're not. They're losers. All right, don't you understand that? If we deport the last of the productive, we're going to be a failed nation because the folks that are real, quote, American people, 60% of them are trash. All right, 60% of them, you can talk to your blue in the face on why they need to be productive, why they need to contribute to their country, and they don't give a fuck. They're useless fucking eaters. Sorry. Anyway, let me read some of these Rumble rants and buy me a coffees here. Mr. Ripley, I don't want to cross the streams, but there's words going around that you made a sex tape with Deborah Messing, and you are literally crossing the streams back to the St. Louis Arch. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but fuck you. Devious Dame, put them in the salsa chambers, whatever that means. Purple Juice, I don't drink, I don't cuss. I want to ride or die on your face till I... Jesus Christ, shut up. And Blades Colon, if you could solve the fatty problem with the Zog AI, I'm with it. I hate fats. I hope they just use their fitness trackers to solve the Jew problem next. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. Anyway, feminist socialists, you should be blaming Jesus Christ with this anti-Semitic shit. And Old Man Frank, nice rant, Ghostif S. Stalin. Jesus Christ. And then you got Red Eyes Black Dragon, testify, Ghost. And let me tell you, the whole reason why people are agreeing with me is because the majority of the folks that listen to True Capitalist Radio are productive members of their fucking society, whether it's America or their country of origin. These people are workers. They contribute to their country. And that's all you got to do. All you got to do is go out, make money, and pay for your own shit. How hard is that? How hard? I don't give a shit what you do. You could clean enema bags for a living. You could clean the fucking leftover secretions at an adult theater for a living. I don't care. As long as you're obtaining revenue and paying your own way. But that seems to be impossible for over 60% of the American fucking piece of shit public. That's great. Yeah, make America fucking socialist piece of shit fucking useless eaters again. And Bevden, you're over 65. You shouldn't be able to vote. Yeah, fuck you. Look, the youth are the ones that caused all this problem. You know, the youth that believes, you know what, I don't want to work. Everything just should be free. Everything should just be free. You're the fucking problem. All right, you're the reason why we're in fucked up shitbag America. And someone says, I still believe in Trump. I don't care that he was on that island. He is our hero. You see this? On Buy Me a Coffee, someone just donated that right there. Huh? I don't care if he was on that island. He's my hero. Jesus fucking Christ. All right. And what, Old Man Frank, bitch, I work 2 jobs and you still hate me, shitbag. Well, that's because you got a fucking attitude problem, Old Man Frank. You could tell you've never gotten an ass whooping. Because I'll tell you right now, if you gotten your ass whooped, you wouldn't be talking all that fucking mess, boy. All right? You've been hiding behind a desk your whole fucking 49 years of your goddamn life. Because I guarantee you, if you took a goddamn good ass whooping, you wouldn't be fucking running your goddamn gator. I can tell you that right goddamn now, boy. Anyway, look, I'm almost done here. Let me get the hell out of here, all right? All right, and fuck you, Marshall Bernsey. All right? I thought you were dead. Maybe you should have been. I'm sorry. It's a joke. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Anyway, what else is Trump doing? Let's talk about his cabinet. What is his cabinet doing? You hear about Pete Hegseth, that fucking womanizing drunk? Take a look at this. Another Hegseth aide exits as Pentagon churn continues. All right? And you want to know why people are leaving? Because Hegseth is completely incompetent. I don't know why this idiot took the job. He clearly was in over his head. He should have known better. He didn't. His ego overtook him. Now he's having a goddamn mutiny going over there in the Defense Department. All right? A mutiny. And just to prove this to you, all right, it's so bad out there in the Defense Department that there's a goddamn, like some kind of a petition going around, all right, calling for fucking Peter Hegseth's removal. All right? All right, Pete Hegseth hit by deeply embarrassing allegations as leaked letter calling for his removal rips through the Pentagon. All right, I mean, this guy is a complete incompetent embarrassment. All right, and I don't understand how or why Trump chose this guy. I guess because he knew he was going to be some fucking lackey that would do anything Trump says, but he can't even do that right. All right, Hegseth can't even do that shit right. And old man Frank, bitch, I was tortured till my vocal cords tore from screaming. Well, if that's true, sorry. I don't know. Didn't mean to insult you, but you're an insulting piece of shit. Anyway, we got Mr. Ripley, all these entitlement collecting losers who don't work and want everything to be free. Work makes you free. Well, you know what it does, Mr. Ripley? When you generate your own revenue, when you go out and work, not only are you productive, you're contributing to your country. You're contributing to the productivity of society.
They're eating
Aside
the cats.
from that, you are able to carve out whatever reality that you want based upon the revenue that you generate. All right? But most people, they don't even think of it like that way. They just get money and they just burn it. All right? Jesus Christ. Type Casablanca to tell Ghost he's a fucking boring and fuck you, all right? Fuck off. Fucking piece of shit. Anyway, Hegseth, pretty embarrassing, completely incompetent, a complete mutiny going on in the Defense Department. So what is MAGA doing? Or what is Hegseth going to try to do? He's going to try to save face. And word is that he's going to step down here shortly. And what he's going to do is he's going to claim that he's going to run for office in the state of Tennessee. Okay? So that is the story right now. He has made such a mess in the Defense Department that here in the next coming weeks, we're going to be hearing that Peter Hegseth is going to be stepping down, and he's going to claim that it's because he wants to run for some kind of a seat in the state of Tennessee. So that's one incompetent that they're trying to get rid of while not making the goddamn Trump administration look like the incompetents there are. So be expecting Pete Hegseth to be stepping down sometime soon. So who else in the administration is fucking shit up, huh? Well, take a look at this. None other than Kash Patel and Don Bongino. All right? Take a look at this. FBI leaders have no idea what they're doing. They're just playing dress up. And it sounds like that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, remember these guys were talking a big fucking pile of mess when they were podcasters saying that, Patel said that he's going to fire half the FBI and he was going to do this and do that. He hasn't done shit. All right? Same with Bongino. Bongino hasn't done a goddamn thing, even though this guy made millions off of touting how the Epstein files were going to come out and expose the deep state and all this bullshit. Nothing has happened. And if you want my personal opinion, if you want to know what truly happened to both Patel and Don Bongino, let me explain probably what happened. Let me give you the scene here, okay? They arrive at the headquarters. And, of course, they're greeted by many of the higher-ups within that bureaucracy. And they congratulate them and they show them to the new office. And then when they go into the new office, they're saying, look, we know that you have a lot of ambitious things for the FBI, but we kind of believe that the FBI should stay the way it should be. And if you pursue this any further, we would hate to show your wife this. And let me tell you, what they found out is that the FBI has a fucking file and a profile on every fucking American citizen. They know every piece of dirt on you. They know every prostitute you patronize. They know every fucking gay relationship you hooked up with on Grindr. They know all that shit. All right? And they probably showed every bad thing that these fuckers did from the time they were teenagers to now and said, look, if you do this, we're going to expose you. We're going to fucking turn you into a laughingstock. So just sit there, smile, come to work with your suit on, and just go and tweet out all the good shit that we do. Like busting, that's all they do now. Hey, we busted this fucking, so-and-so ring. We busted, that's all they're fucking doing now. All right? So this is, who's running the FBI. A bunch of jokers who don't know what the fuck they're doing, man. What a fucking joke. And let's talk about the DOJ, the Department of Justice. All right? Not much going on over there. 3 fired DOJ workers add to a chorus of layoffs and floundering workforce over there at the DOJ. A lot of the DOJ folks don't want to have anything to do with this goddamn Epstein cover-up, so they're getting the fuck out of there. And let me tell you, Pam Bondi, I think you need to look into why Pam Bondi is putting her whole fucking neck on the line, putting her whole reputation on the line. Because haven't you noticed, folks, all this shit, all these people that are doing this cover-up are all out of Florida. Remember, Pam Bondi spent her whole life as a public bureaucrat in Florida. She was one of the ones that aided the sweet deal that was given to Epstein. And where did Epstein? He was in Florida. Where did Epstein recruit all his women? From Palm Beach, Florida. Ghislaine did it, actually, but he once Ghislaine groomed the women, then Epstein knew that he could go and have a party, and these women would know the role. All right, but all these people are all out of Florida. Everybody who's a part of this cover-up that's throwing their name on the line for this cover-up, and Pam Bondi is one of them. And a lot of people in MAGA are actually, putting Pam Bondi as the focal point on why the Epstein situation has gone out of hand. What they need to do is blame Trump, because it's his fault. I mean, he had this close, not just affiliation, as I suggested earlier in the broadcast, it looks like he was a part of all this fucking teenage girl networking. So this is where we're at this point. I mean, I know everybody wants to hear good news and shit. There's nothing good to say. There's nothing good to say. I mean, you MAGA people, if you didn't vote for the Epstein files, if you didn't vote for immigration, by the way, immigration numbers are even lower than Obama and Biden right now. So, I mean, all this idea that ICE is doing this, ICE is doing that, the fucking new $180 billion ICE funding from the big beautiful bill is not for immigration. It's for you and me. Look, I've already been on here for a couple hours. I mean, I think it's preseason football on tonight. All right, so let me hurry up and finish this off so I can get to this NFL preseason. But let's talk about Russia. All right, Trump has gone back on Russia now, Taco, and says now he gives Russia 10 to 12 days to end the war in Ukraine. 10 to 12 days, all right, for the war in Ukraine. And tried to give him an ultimatum. All right, this is on July 28th, as you can see here in the article. Now, this contradicts his initial, 50 or 60-day ultimatum. He has now shortened it now to 10 or 12 days. We don't know which. Now, the funny thing about this is, folks, is that now that Trump is flip-flopping, even though he was damn near a cock holster for Vladimir Putin, he is now flip-flopping, is now taking this very aggressive stance on Russia. And I'm only telling you what I am assessing here. Literally the day after, or that day, all right, a mysterious earthquake, actually it was a couple of days after, a mysterious earthquake happened off the coast of Russia, an 8.8, 8.9 on the Richter scale earthquake that scared everybody from Russia to the Hawaii, the fucking Japanese. A whole bunch of countries were on alert on whether or not there could be a tsunami that culminates from this massive Richter scale earthquake that was measured in this region of Russia. Well, folks, in my personal opinion, that wasn't an earthquake. I personally believe if you take a look at where the epicenter of this earthquake is, it's around a submarine base that has a lot of mountainous areas around it. Put the PC shot on. Mystery over what happened to nuclear Russian submarine base near earthquake epicenter. Now, what I am suggesting is that they were testing a nuclear weapon. And this is what they do in Iran. Remember, Iran, they tested in the mountains in order to encapsulate the nuclear explosion, in order to not have any kind of radioactive fallout, in order to show the capability or the blast capability of the nuclear weapon. I believe this is the same situation that happened here, and I think that we know, the United States government knows that this was a nuclear test. This is a warning here, because now, I mean, what is Trump going to do in 10 or 12 days? I mean, you certainly can't sanction Russia. I mean, they're operating on the highest sanctions that we've ever given anyone. And I'm not just talking America. I'm talking about the West in general. So what is America going to do? This test was this nuclear test that has been disguised as an earthquake was a signal to Trump that, look, we're serious about nuclear war. Are you? All right. And this, of course, is followed up by Medvedev, which was once the head of state for a brief while, just to pretend that Russia has some kind of diplomatic or democratic governance. Medvedev reminds Trump of Russia's doomsday nuclear strike capabilities as war of words escalate. When was that? July 31st, right after the earthquake. So, folks, things not looking good between Russia, Ukraine, and United States intervention diplomatically therein. Now, what is the Russians, what are they accomplishing on the battlefield? Not much. All right, that's why I believe they're going and threatening a doomsday device. All right, because what are the Russian troops doing? Not only are they a part of the meat grinder, which is these, they're getting destroyed by these fucking drones, and it's a horrible situation out there in the battlefield between Ukraine and Russia. Not only are they becoming fodder for the meat grinder, but you hear this? Russian soldiers are getting AIDS. Look at this shit. They're getting fucking AIDS. Look at this. Why HIV rates are among Russian soldiers are soaring. All right? They've gone up 20-fold in the Russian military since the beginning of the invasion. All right? So they're out there getting AIDS. I'm not joking around. They're out there getting fucking AIDS. All right? So aside from them being fodder for the meat grinder, I could only assume that they're fucking each other, because I mean, there could be, I don't know if there's any fucking women out there, but I'm certain there are probably not many. All right? So, once again, up 20-fold HIV rates, and some people are suggesting it's a tainted blood supply. I don't know, man. I think that they're having a pauseria out there in the bunkers, whenever there's no fucking drones around. These guys are, giving each other, tummy sticks or, fucking bum wanks or whatever the fuck they're called over there. All right, in my opinion. Now, Ukraine, let's talk a little bit about Ukraine. They're not doing much better here. At least they're holding their own on the battlefield. But at home, good God. Take a look at this. Zelensky's got a major problem on his hands behind the scenes of Ukraine's cardboard revolution. Now, protests against Vladimir Zelensky's now abandoned anti-corruption bill were marked by creative signs and proactive references. Well, aside from the proactive references and the cardboards, there were like a fucking million people in Kiev that were protesting against this, quote, anti-corruption bill, which was going to bring in the oversight authority that's supposed to look for corruption in the government. It was going to put it under the control of Zelensky under this anti-corruption bill. And, of course, that enraged the hell out of the Ukrainians, and Vladimir Zelensky had to crack. Vladimir Zelensky had to crack. So that goes to show you that Vladimir Zelensky doesn't have 100%, backing in what he does at this point in time amongst his domestic population. So I don't know where we're at right now when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. And I don't know where Trump is going with this, but it is now making this a very volatile situation. Very volatile situation. Now, let's move on, folks. I don't mean to, keep you on this long here. I want to go watch some fucking preseason football. But let's talk a little bit about the UK a little bit, because they passed a initiative here called the Online Safety Act that requires age verification for almost every internet service that services the United Kingdom. And people are complaining now that they have to have age verification for Spotify. They have to have age verification for YouTube. They've got age verification for gaming. And folks, this is coincides with what Trump is doing to America. All right? This is an incremental, a vastly incremental path towards totalitarianism. I mean, folks, while you guys are sitting there being idiots and going to Comic-Cons and, immersing yourself into childhood activity well into your fucking adulthood 40s and 50s, and you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, that's how come they're able to do this. They're able to do this because what are you going to do about it? I mean, it took the Ukrainian invasion and the years of fighting that invasion for Ukrainians to go out en masse and protest against that anti-corruption bill that I just mentioned in order for Zelensky to crack. We don't have that type of angst in this country. We don't have that type of belief in this country. Most of the people go out and protest are just going there as if it was a fucking festival. All right? Like it was a fucking parade. Nobody goes out there to protest. Protest it's fucking meaningless in America at this point. All right? It's a bunch of stupid, stoned out hippies banging on a fucking drum, or it's some fucking asshole with some fucking dumbass sign screaming at people. All right? It doesn't mean shit. So once again, folks, this is not just coming to the UK. This is going to happen throughout all of the international community. And why? Because they want to put a tight knit on the information that is flowing through the internet. All right? Because there's too much information flowing. Now that AI can validate or invalidate a lot of the things that are being promoted that maybe the powers that be don't want being promoted, I mean, this is their ability to rein in the info war. All right? And what are they doing it? They're doing it under the guise of saving children. Ironically, right? They're doing it under the guise of saving children, yet, you know, when it comes to America, they don't care that their fucking president was a part of a goddamn child sex trafficking ring. So you got to figure that shit out on your fucking own. All right? But under the guise of saving children. All right? Under the guise of saving children. This is what this is all about. And what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. All right, this is all going as planned. I mean, dude, by 2030, I mean, aside from the internet being locked down in this capacity, I'm talking the whole internet being locked down to this capacity, we're going to have robots a huge part of our lives. I mean, we already have AI as a part of our lives. I mean, look at all these losers that are out here now getting interpersonal with Annie, which is the Grok variant of a fucking AI girlfriend. I mean, just imagine as it gets more and more integrated to robotics or bio robotics, or you know, just the future looks like a dystopian sci-fi movie. All right? And all I can tell you folks that are productive, that just want to live your life, that's all you can do at this point. All right? Because there's nothing you can do to stop this. Because let's say, perfect scenario, we stop AI, robotics, we stop all this data collection, centralization, we stop all this shit. Well, China isn't going to stop. All right, Japan isn't going to stop. Russia, North Korea, they're not going to stop. So what we're witnessing right now, folks, is a AI race, a AI robotics race. And human beings are not even the pawns anymore. All right? As a matter of fact, at least 90% of the world is no longer needed, at least in the eyes of many of the folks that are transitioning our civilization into this technocratic future. I'm not joking around. And I think people need to recognize that this is why we're seeing all these weird anomalies. We're seeing death of people in rapid capacity. We're seeing weird anomalies in weather. And folks, if you don't think that has something to do with I don't know, weather weaponization, then you're a fucking idiot. We're seeing weird earthquakes. We're seeing weird climate phenomena. We're seeing shit that's just killing people en masse. And it's just going to get worse and worse. I believe that we're going to see another pandemic. I said that right when Trump was elected. I said, here we go for another pandemic. And this is going to justify all this shit. That's why, you know, the central data of our health being collected by big tech to centralize it for government authority, I mean, that coincides with what the fuck I'm talking about. They're going to be able to get rid of us. They're going to justify getting rid of you. If there's something wrong with you, they're like, don't resuscitate this piece of shit. All right? Don't worry. That's what they did to you fuckers during COVID. And if you don't believe that, you're a fucking moron. They redefined what death meant. All right? And I talked about it back then. The CDC, all right, was the central power that told every hospital, that told every physician that's under the classification of government-approved physician that you had to classify certain people dying under COVID based upon observational symptoms. So if a nurse saw somebody who died of a fucking gunshot wound, cough or sneeze or some shit, that could technically be COVID-related death. If somebody died of cancer or a heart attack, but they showed these very odd symptoms that were listed under the CDC, that could be classified as COVID death. And because, I mean, we had this weird system where, you know, we got an incentivized healthcare system to find shit wrong with you. We had Medicare give an incentive to all the folks that were out there diagnosing people with COVID. All right, I mean, you know, hospitals got like 6,000 or 7,000 folks that were diagnosed with COVID. They got 45,000 per person that died of COVID. So this is what all this is about, man. The centralization of our health data, the censorship of online. I mean, folks, it's going to get so dystopian out here that fuck street cameras. We're going to have drones at every fucking corner, at every part of our sky. You know, they have fucking drones that are the size of bees and fireflies now. They've got bird drones now. You know, they've developed glasses now where you can now live stream and no one can even know. No one will know. It's fucking live stream glasses. And no one will even know. So that's even more surveillance. We're all going to be under surveillance. You're not going to be able to do a goddamn thing without the government or some fucking authority or some company having access to what the fuck you do 24 hours a day. And if you don't believe me, take a look at that phone that you people glue yourselves to. You don't think that that is aggregating your fucking data and storing it somewhere? You got another thing coming. And Belligerent Brian said they want to stop kids seeing harmful content, i.e. porn, but won't do shit about groomer gangs. And now they're talking about banning VPNs. But hey, it's for the kids, right? That's what I'm saying, Belligerent Brian. That's what I'm saying. And Belligerent Brian said, very telling indeed is the fact that I'm unable to see right-wing protest footage on X right now. Their definition of harmful is transparent as fuck. There was once upon a time the government could be tried for treason. Well, good luck with that one. Good luck with that one. Anyway, I am against this, folks, but what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to start with the UK, then it's going to spread all over Europe, then it's going to come to America, and then that's it. It's over. We're all going to be doxxed. The only way that you're going to get online is if you show your fucking identity. That's it. That's where we're at. All right, so if you do any trolling or if you do any nefarious bullshit, your fucking name is on it. All right? Your name is on it. Anyway, folks, look, let me I was going to talk a little bit about China, but it's not very important. Their economy's still suffering. All right? I mean, you got the government that came in recently saying, we're going to crack down on the economy, motherfucker. Basically, they're going to throw price controls on shit. And, communist garbage. All right. So that's what they're doing. They're going to run their own price control and probably going to continue to print fucking money like the idiots that they are. So that's what China's doing. And one more thing. Let's talk about Iran real fast. Even though a war with Iran, either between Israel and Iran or the United States and Iran, has now kind of gone by the wayside. Did you know that the city of Tehran in Iran, the capital of Iran, could run dry without any water within weeks? All right? So they're in a very desperate situation in which they could literally run out of water. And Tehran, I think, has 10 million fucking people in that fucking city. So not looking good for Iran. And as I stated, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Taliban and Iran get into a scuffle over a body of water that is on the border of both countries. Be on the lookout for that, all right? Be on the lookout for a potential skirmish or war between Iran and Afghanistan over a body of water. Believe it or not, it's getting that dire, all right? And by the way, fresh water is getting scarce in the world in general. All right, anyway, let's go ahead and get to everybody's favorite outro of True Capitalist Radio. And I'm talking about totally useless news, all right? Let's talk about totally useless news. Since we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, believe it or not, out of a suburb of Boston. All right, some jerk off thinks it's a great idea because his name happens to be Jeffrey Epstein to run for mayor of some fucking fruity ass suburb called Farmingham, Massachusetts. All right. Jesus Christ. And by the way, this guy's not even American. He's fucking Australian. That's fucking running for mayor out here. Look at this. Huh? What happened to deporting people, MAGA? Look at this. He's a dead American. I'm a live Australian, Epstein said. So this where we're at. This fucking G. Of course it had to be a fucking Aussie, some kangaroo banging asshole. All right? Yeah, he fucking dead American. You know, I'm a live Australian. You know, I'm talking about, you know, go ahead and pick me for mayor. You know, go pick me for mayor, you will. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's one totally useless news segment. Here's another one here, just to throw a little bit of, gallows humor into this mix. Pizzeria mishap that has left 85 people intoxicated with THC after infused oil was used on the dough. All right? Now, what fucking stoner pizza maker did this shit? Out of Wisconsin, of all places. All right? Cheesehead America. What fucking asshole did this and thought it was a good idea? You know how much fucking money it costs to get THC-infused oil? I mean, it's a huge process. A huge process to, break down THC into oil. I mean, and to use it in a pizza crust, I mean, that had to have been a fucking expensive amount of oil, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think that was a mishap, but 85 people intoxicated. All right, and, some of them had to go to the hospital because they didn't know what the fuck was happening to them. But that's, once again, Wisconsin pizza mishap. All right? Now, this other totally useless news, it ties in Japan and China. Now, the reason it ties in Japan is because where this took place is in Japan. The reason it ties into China, because the product that was purchased from Japan, the product that was purchased from China to dispense in Japan came from China. Now, what am I talking about? Well, somebody in Japan who owns those, like, iron claw grabbers that you see in, arcades and you see them in festivals and that sort of thing, where you take the claw, you try to get something out, and, Well, believe it or not, there was a toy gun that was in many of these iron claw gaming setups. And believe it or not, China, even though it's supposed to be a toy, made it to where you can actually fire a fucking bullet in this shit. I'm not even fucking joking. Look at this shit. Toy guns won from a crane game all over Japan could be used as real fucking guns. Can be used as real guns. You could throw a fucking caliber bullet into whatever these fucking guns are and actually have it fire. So now there's 10,000 of these fucking guns that can fire all over Japan that Japan is trying to find and scoop up, for Christ's sake. All right? So that's what China's doing to us, all right? Like they brought in fentanyl into the United States. They brought in guns into Japan when most of the folks, I don't even think you can buy a gun. I don't even think you can fucking buy a gun out there. And here you got 10,000 of these things now. Actually, 16,000 now. I thought I read 10 earlier. 16,000 of these things that you can literally put a fucking a caliber of bullet into this, and it will actually fire. It will actually fire. And guess what? China has a whole bunch of these. Look at all these guns that they've created. All that can fire real weapons. So this is what they're doing, man. They're trying to, throw subtle forms of warfare and destabilization. And meth dealer, next weapon that the shock troops will use. Whatever, dude. And then Jack is okay. The IC is importing these as we speak to use at Popeye's locations around the nation. That's great. Shut up, all right? Shut up. And by the way, let's talk a little bit about where Jack is okay comes from. This was a very interesting story, Jack is okay. I didn't realize your people did this. But take a look at this. The last story of totally useless news. Mass circumcision ceremony leaves 39 boys dead. and dozens more mutilated after botched procedures during tribal initiation in South Africa. All right? And apparently, this is something that is done annually. This is something that is done annually. All right? Take a look at this. In 2025, the tribal initiation ceremony where teenage males in South Africa undergo an agonizing circumcision has ended with 39 deaths and dozens more mutilated. Despite a target being set by the government of 0 fatalities this year, the figure is still a huge drop from 93 last year. All right? While totaling 361 boys dying within the past 5 years. All right? This is not a joke. Oh, God. They even show pictures? Oh, my God, dude. All right. All right. Circumcision ceremony. What is this? Get your eyes checked, Porkler. Yeah, thanks a lot, old man Frank. All right? I'm sure you wish you were there, you fucking weirdo. All right. Anyway, do they do it anally? What the fuck does that mean? Let me get to these buy me a coffees, and I think I'm going to get the hell out of here, all right? Jesus Christ, what a TCR. Anyway, cheers to everybody out there who is listening. And someone said, hey, Ghost, can you quickly touch on the mass shooting that happened in the NYC Midtown? Well, let's just put it this way. Supposedly, the guy was looking for the NFL headquarters. It just so happened to eliminate a BlackRock executive around the United Nations and had 2 people with him that supposedly were pro-Palestine. All right, so think of that what you will, but there's a lot of fishiness that is correlated with whatever the hell went down at that point in time. So that's all I can say about that, all right? Cheers to someone, and cheers to everybody out there. Yeah, it was also on the 33rd floor, by the way. Okay. Anyway, cheers to everybody out there. I want to say thank you for tuning in to the True Capitalist Radio Show. As I stated, it's very hard for me to get motivated to do these shows because there's not much good news, in my opinion, to be talking about. Oh, Blackstone, not BlackRock. It was a Blackstone employee. My bad. All right, my bad. It was at the 33rd floor, Blackstone employee. And belligerent Brian, can you get Jags IC slot? No. All right, absolutely not. All right. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in with me. There will be a Ghost Show tomorrow, all right, for Baller Friday. And once again, Ghost Show every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Texas time. And, of course, I do a Sunday show covering the IP2 boards, which is a little, along the same lines as the Ghost Show. So that's also at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time over there on Sunday. I'll try to do a new True Capitalist Radio on Monday. I'm going to try to get motivated for it, but it's kind of hard to get motivated for it, man. Marshall Bernsey, what happened? I'll swoop in with my super suit and stop that miscreant. All right, that's enough. And more anti-Semitic crap. Come on. Anyway, once again, Ghost Show tomorrow. All right, once again, tomfoolery, radio graffiti, and other shenanigans tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, once again for Baller Friday. Until next time, folks, thank you very much for tuning in with me. And by the way, if you haven't done so, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room, okay, after this broadcast. And if you'd like to join the True Capitalist Radio chat room, all you got to do is go to that link that's on the bottom of the screen, buymeacoffee.com/GhostPolitics. And once you do, go right here to become a member and come chill with us in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. There's nothing but serious conversation that happens in there. So if you like what you hear when it comes to the commentary on True Capitalist Radio, you'll enjoy the True Capitalist Radio chat room. All right, man? Anyway, I'm in the TCR chat room here in about 20 minutes. Thank you all for tuning in with me. Until next time, I'm out of here. Woo!